Episode 1 was the most up and down start to a career mode I've ever seen. After getting beaten by Wolves 2-1 on the opening day of the season and beaten by Luton in the Carabao Cup, we then beat City 3-2 and followed that up with a dominating 2-0 victory against Liverpool to put ourselves in 4th place in the Premier League. And with the end of the January transfer window soon upon us, as well as countless games to get through in today's episode, please don't forget to like and subscribe if you're enjoying the series, and let's get into it. So I mentioned at the end of the last episode that in spite of me bringing in 2 new players this transfer window, and with 41 million still to spend, the board are insisting I bring in another crucial player before the end of the season. So with that in mind, I started taking a look through my squad to see what areas of the team really needed improving, and the only one I could really think of right now was in attacking midfield. As you can see, I've got youngster Alcaraz, who's been starting for me in recent games, yet to get on the score sheet for me this season, and at 72 rated, he's obviously not the best midfielder on the market right now. We've also got Gineppo, formerly a left midfielder, who I've now converted to an attacking midfielder during pre-season. And heading over to my shortlist for the position, you can see I've got a variety of different players to choose, from the likes of Thiago Almada, the Argentinian youngster currently plying his trade in the States, with massive amounts of potential. There's Luka Zucic, the young Croatian playing for RB Salzburg. And in terms of more experienced players, I was also thinking about Julian Brandt from Dortmund and Dani Olmo from Leipzig. However, whilst all of these players would be brilliant signings, I'm not too sure that the 2 younger options qualify as crucial players, and I'm also not sure the 2 more experienced options would actually want to join Southampton due to their current plight in real life. Now, bearing that in mind, and at 19 years of age, Alcaraz has plenty of room to grow and develop, and that I've only just retrained Gineppo to a cam in the summer, he probably deserves a little bit more time to actually try and make the position his own. So I'm actually thinking for now, I'm going to hold fire on bringing in any other player this transfer window, see how these 2 get on in the first half of the season, and then make a more informed decision come January. As the transfer window slams shut, we've managed to secure loan deals for a few of our younger players, including Seko Mara, who's off to FC Braga, Samuel Duzi, who's off to Genoa, and Dom Ballard, who's off to AIK. But more frustratingly, right at the end of the transfer window, Newcastle popped up out of nowhere and decided to activate a release clause for Bednarek that I didn't even realise he had. Obviously, he's jumped at the chance to head up north, and obviously it wasn't something I was expecting, nor did I have the opportunity to bring in a replacement. Now, whilst he wasn't in the starting 11 due to me wanting to push the partnership of Salazu and Bella Kotchup, it still leaves me slightly light in defence. Hopefully we'll be okay for now, and worst comes to worst, I guess we can always recall Jack Stevens from Bournemouth if we need to. For now though, it's time for the football, and unfortunately, despite an early Onuachu goal, we end up getting battered 4-1 by Newcastle. Definitely not the way we wanted to start this episode. Fortunately, we've got the chance to make amends straight away courtesy of a game against Southampton's real-life relegation rivals in Leeds, in the rain at St Mary's. But it's Leeds who start the game with far more intensity than us, Aronson dancing around Carl Walker-Peters and blazing a strike over the bar. And while we had to wait until the 27th minute before we were actually able to carve out our own chance. James Ward-Prowse winning the ball in the air, Aribo laying it off to Dooku, who struck from distance, but unfortunately for us, he struck it wide. Onuachu had the chance to make it 1-0 only a few moments later, but his strike cannoned off the defender and out for a corner, and by half-time the fans were so bored by the lack of chances they had to entertain themselves by taking selfies. Fortunately though, the action picked up in the second half with McKennie striking from distance, but Bazunu was equal to it, and about 5 minutes later Gineppo really got the Southampton fans on their feet with a driving run through the Leeds midfield and forcing the goalie into a tremendous save. Into the final 10 minutes of the game, and Raul Jimenez thought he made it 1-0, but his goal was ruled out for offside, much to his disbelief, and Dooku would have been clean through on goal had Aribo released the ball earlier, but like Jimenez earlier, his run was ruled offside as well. That ended up being the last talking point of a fairly average game, and in the end, it finished Southampton 0, Leeds United 0. And it's another draw straight after against another relegation rival as we follow up with a 2-2 draw against Nottingham Forest. At least we can take heart from the fact that we've stopped them from winning too. Although, it looks like the poor attitude is starting to set in already, with Maitland-Niles knocking on my door within the first few games of the season, complaining about his game time, and perhaps that's having a knock-on effect to the rest of the squad as we succumb to our second defeat of the episode, this time to Palace, despite another Onuachu goal. Ansu Fati, who apparently now plays for Crystal Palace on one of the oddest transfers of this career mode so far, victory at the end for them. Onuachu gets himself on the score sheet once again as we draw to Leicester 1-1, but another late goal, this time from Bournemouth, means it's more points dropped and means we still go in search of our first win of the episode as we draw another game 1-1. To my surprise, Willy Caballero has come under offers from several different clubs, and despite me accepting all those offers, he's decided to reject the lot of them, which I guess is no surprise considering he's retiring at the end of the season. And it seems like Maitland-Niles' frustrations have started to creep into other players in the squad as well, and it's now Kaleta who's the man to knock on my door, demanding more game time. He's clearly feeling he should be starting ahead of my other defenders who've only managed to secure 2 clean sheets so far this season. For now though, it's time to get back to the football as we have a huge mountain to climb against real-life table toppers Arsenal as we welcome them to St Mary's. But it's an absolute electric start in front of a rampant home crowd as Gineppo gets a bit of luck from his rebound off Bastoni, feeds it into Livramento, and his shot goes under the arms of the goalkeeper to give us an early lead here, and one that the crowd were absolutely delighted with. Less than 10 minutes later though, and of course Arsenal fire back, Thomas Partey combining with Odegaard, and he powers a strike past Bazunu to get them back on level terms. The pressure is relentless from Arsenal, and Jorginho goes close a few minutes before half time, but to my surprise, it's us who actually retake the lead. A beautiful counter-attack means Gineppo has acres of space to drive into the Arsenal box and finish in style past Ramsdale to give us a 2-1 lead. Arsenal start the second half as they mean to go on, with Jesus forcing a good stop out of Bazunu, and the pressure continues as Jesus this time finds Partey, who again forces a brilliant flying save from our young goalkeeper. But unfortunately, the pressure was just too much in the end. Odegaard, with some fancy footwork, gave it to Jesus, and he laid it on a plate for Jorginho, who made no mistake, and Arsenal levelled to make it 2-2. Somehow though, in spite of the relentless pressure in the second half, we've just about managed to hang on to a 2-2 draw. We're still on the hunt for our first win of the episode, but I'm confident we can take heart from a really positive performance. And after that result, 10 games into the season, we sit where the board would actually expect us to sit, 13th in the table with 11 points to our name, 5 points clear of the relegation zone. Now, whilst I spoke at the beginning of episode 1 about the importance of James Ward-Prowse, and whilst he is yet to get on the score sheet, he has chipped in so far with 3 assists this season, but there is no doubt that this man Onuachu is carrying us on his back so far this season. 7 goals in 10 Premier League games, a fine way to start the campaign. He's miles ahead of our next top goal scorer, and long may the good form continue. As we head back over to some more sim games, it's Gineppo at the double this time round as his 2 goals managed to secure a point against Spurs, but we follow that up with a 3-0 battering against Manchester United, clearly a resurgent Man United under Ten Hag. Onuachu and James Ward-Prowse getting on the score sheet for the first time this season means we draw this time against Fulham 2-2, and we drop another 2 points against Premier League relegation rivals in a 1-1 draw against Brentford, with Alcaraz getting the only goal for us. Next up though, it's 20th placed Everton, clearly replicating their poor form in real life on FIFA, and as you can see, we've dropped down to 14th in the league as we head back to St Mary's in desperate search of our first win this episode. And we almost started the game perfectly after some fine work down the left-hand side by Yilmaz. He found himself in the box and almost scored past Pickford, but he was on hand to make the save, and after bursting through my defence, Dominic Calvert-Lewin beautifully chipped my goalkeeper but could only hit the bar as Everton responded well. Everton kept up that pressure as Dominic Calvert-Lewin tried to bend one round Bazunu, but again he just about managed to deny him. A fine run down the right hand side from Dooku found the head of Gineppo, but his head also found the hand of Pickford, and just as I thought we were going to see out the game with another draw, my defence completely fell asleep, allowed Everton players to ghost into the box, and for Iwobi to fire a strike past Bazunu from close range, allowing Everton to take the 1-0 lead and take the 3 points in the end. We just can't seem to buy a win at the moment, and that has put us in real trouble as we're now down to 15th in the Premier League, just 3 points off of relegation. Both I and my players really need to step it up a level, and step it up we do. Finally, after a long time of asking, we secure our first win of the episode courtesy of a tight 1-0 win against Brighton, and who else could it be that would pop up with the goal? The man, the myth, the future Southampton legend that is Onuachu. And this rollercoaster season continues as we go from not being able to buy a win to getting 2 in a row, and this one is against Chelsea of all teams. A 2-1 away win. Onuachu again with 2 goals this time. The man is on fire as we secure another 3 points, and Gineppo and Che Adams round off a good run of games as we pick up a point against West Ham in a 2-2 draw. However, good news is of course followed by bad news as my number 1 goalkeeper Bazunu has picked up a dreaded injury. Fortunately, it's not a serious one and it'll only keep him out for 2 to 3 weeks, but we do need to find a replacement in the meantime, and with Caballero now having his rating drop down by 4 to 65, I can't help but think this is the perfect opportunity to allow my young goalkeeper from our youth academy, Ruben Varela, to finally make the step up to the senior team. Slightly earlier than planned, but with Southampton's track record of bringing through young players, it was an opportunity I just couldn't turn down. Of course, he's absolutely delighted with the news, and he'll go straight in between the sticks for our next game against Aston Villa. And he made a terrific start to the game after a wonderful through ball from Coutinho. Varela came rushing out to deny a certain goal from Zaniolo, and I thought we were certain to go 1-0 up shortly after that, but Suleimana got his header all wrong, and the ball ended up bouncing around the Villa box and out for a corner. Fancy footwork from James Ward-Prowse allowed him to get a shot away, which he blazed over the bar. bar. But in what could well be the most frustrating miss of our season so far, Martinez then gifted the ball to Gineppo from the resulting goal kick, and he decided to balloon his strike over the bar too. Beautiful work from Doku again down the right hand side in the second half, gave the ball to Onuachu, who forced Martinez into a smart stop, and another wonderful run from Doku, this time through the centre of the pitch. Onuachu should have given us the lead, but like others, ballooned his chance over the bar as well. It was a long time coming, but in the 65th minute we finally got what we deserved. A lovely through ball from Gineppo found Sulemana, and he took his time, found his range, and fired an unstoppable shot past Martinez into the top left hand corner to give us a richly deserved 1-goal lead. James Ward-Prowse almost added a second, but an unbelievable last ditch Villa defending from a wicked cross kept the score at 1-0, and Varela, desperate to keep his clean sheet, came flying out off of his line yet again, this time to deny a goal from Kamaric right at the end of the game. And fortunately enough for him, he was able to keep his clean sheet on his debut as we secured a much needed and deserved 1-0 win. Positive results mean we've clawed our way back up to 11th in the table, 9 points clear of the relegation zone, but with a -3 goal difference, the January transfer window just round the corner, and a crucial signing still being demanded by the board, I'm thinking, do I need to add another central defender to my ranks, or perhaps do I look to upgrade Aribo in the centre of the park and provide a better midfield partner from James Ward-Prowse? With £52 million to spend, let me know down in the comments below who should I be bringing into the club in January, and I'll see you again next time. Thanks for watching.